OBS is working this time, thank goodness. Sometimes it doesn't, I don't know.
Oh yeah, I had an incident where OBS didn't record. Is in the FVN recording. Didn't record the entire episode. I'm like, sad. Could have had a role. Yeah. It was like one time the main role guy wasn't there. I was like, oh sweet, I could take this. Never happened. The person came back the next time. I was like, dang it.
Yeah.
Couldn't be replaced.
Basically like paranoid with OBS now, where I'm like, I don't record anything past an hour. Once I get to an hour, I cut it off, get another.
Oh yeah, I understand.
Mm-hmm. OBS is the thing is mainly my issues. I usually have it when I use it to like actually stream. Like when not on YouTube, but like Twitch, that's when it usually always fucks up for me. Yeah, it's like I'll be streaming on Twitch, and it's like, okay, it's fine, and then I know where everybody's like, hey, what's going on? I can't see the stream, and then it completely disconnects and makes a new stream, and it frustrates me because I hate having another stream that's only like 30 minutes because OBS decided to screw up.
Or it's the opposite for me sometimes, where it's like, oh, it recorded for 3 minutes, and then it's like goes back to normal, and it's like, oh, now I have a 3-hour stream after that.
Yeah. You know what else was 3 hours? Our first part of this podcast, and now we're here for part 2. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 10 the Following the Plot podcast. My name is VivianJade, the trained unprofessional, here with 4 of your favorite visual novel narrators, Blaidd Llwyd, Marshmallow Bears, Fallenwolf, and Dirk the Red Panda, here for part 2 of our roundtable discussion of the visual novel narrators. We had a blast the last time. It lasted way longer than we expected, and y'all seemed to really enjoy our discussion. We enjoyed it too. We got a lot of comments, a lot of views, way more than we expected, and we are only partway through page 1 of the comments. We're going to hope to try to get through more of them this time. We're just going to go straight into the comments this time, and straight into the questions. I kind of rushed through the introductions. Y'all want to give the introductions like we did last time, or do you just kind of want to go through that? Was that awkward last time, or do you want to give your intros like last time?
We can approach it.
All right, let's try doing it alphabetical according to your YouTube names this time.
Ooh.
Or YouTube and Twitch. I don't want to be discriminatory to our Twitch comrade here.
I think that's still going to be Dirk first.
Oh no!
Blaidd.
I don't call him. No, the reason is because I always call him Northgrid. I'm just so used to calling him that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, on the Twitch chat. Discord. You got me thinking.
I know, confusion with names is a thing.
As a trans person, I get it.
Yeah.
Oof. Well, however, it's good to be back again with everyone else. And I don't really have a standard intro apart from playing Sid's music. So it's good to be here, good to have everyone here. And thanks for watching. Hope you're going to enjoy this one. There we go.
Thank you.
All right, I'll take it up next. Welcome back, everybody. Dirk the Red Panda here, along with a bunch of lovely people on Vivian's podcast, Following the Plot. And I hope you all enjoy.
Me, Fallenwolf here, another co-host here with my lovely friends here, and other fellow content creators, ready to have a great time. I really enjoyed the last podcast we did. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Marshmallow Bears, variety streamer and member of Break Trail, and we're here with some guests. I hope to have a lovely time on Vivian's podcast.
Yeah. I don't doubt it one bit. And one other thing that was noticed, not only by our variety crew that we have here, but also by some of the people who watched, was I did fail to answer 5 of the questions that y'all did answer. And so I will subject to a lightning round of 5 of those 5 questions to get them done really quick. Really fast here. The first one was like, what made me want to narrate furry visual novels? That comes from Mike DeArgon. I saw a clip of Amorous in a game theory episode that made me want to find it because I got quote unquote curious. Then I made the leap to thinking it would make for an interesting YouTube video. And then I played it. I didn't like the game, but people found the videos entertaining and they recommended better games. And I liked playing those. And that has continued for 6 years. That's the short version. The second question from Naoki Cooper Games, good person there. 02 Hiroki and Maestro Wolfgon. Was there a character that you really enjoyed doing their voice? What's your favorite character voice to do? I really enjoyed doing either Darius. That's my that's the Darius voice that I do for extracurricular activities, or not even from a visual novel. It's from Undertale, the Papyrus voice. There's different varying versions. If you tone it down, you get Cassius's voice in Adastra. I went all crazy with it. It's a variety from Merrick's voice from Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged.
God, I love that.
Yeah. Then there was Yena Beans. What was the hardest character voice she did? It was the original voice I gave Richard in extracurricular activities, and it was hard because he had to do this for a long time, and I did this voice right at the same time he started appearing a lot longer, and so he started talking a lot longer and getting very sultry with it and getting down there, and just for a long time it was horrible. Number 4, favorite furry visual novel game from a lot of people: Neville Gaskin's Apollo's Imagination, Walt Hitchcock, and Inugami the Hound. Right now, the classic answer was Echo. It is currently being battled by Burroughs and Temptation's Ballad. They could overtake it, but I don't have time to really think about that. So moving right along to the last one, CV4, summarized version. What genre in the visual novel space seems untapped? I would really like a world exploring one, like in 90 Days Around the World, or was it 80 Days? Around the World in 80 Days. There we go. Thank you for that. I would really like that, but it would be hell on a background artist. That would be a genre I would really like seeing explored. There we go. That was my lightning round. Sorry for making you all sit through that.
This is entertaining.
Okay, we can get to the other questions. I apologize for that. I promise I'll actually participate this time. So, starting off with a nice another sort of introductory question, because this is like a background question, a very getting back to your roots kind of question. Mike DeArgon and Hazik MN Gamer asks, what got you all into the furry fandom? Did you discover it all on your own, or did someone introduce it to you? Let's start with Dirk the Red Panda. What is your furry origin story?
My furry experience. I was a big boy and discovered it on my own. Well, so what happened with that was when I was around middle school or whatnot, I got to a phase where I was like, "Ooh, werewolves are pretty cool." I don't know. I was just like horror stuff or just things that were like fantasy or supernatural to me never really appealed to me. I was always, when I was really young, just be like, whenever I'd see other kids try and play and be animals or whatnot, I was like, no, I just want to be myself. I don't care. And then I guess that was me just being super closeted as a furry, that once I saw werewolves and was like getting older and understanding myself better, I was like, wow, I guess having a different representation of yourself would be nice. And so once I got more into werewolves, I realized that because of like fur affinity and whatnot, that you Google werewolf and be like, where does that link to? Boy, that is a rabbit hole. And yeah, I guess that's where we can go from there and say that's how I became a furry.
Nice. Fallenwolf.
Ooh. Okay. So for me, this is going to be so weird. I feel so weird saying it. So for me, it actually started off, funnily enough. I don't know who here ever used to remember My Little Pony.
Yeah.
My Little Pony Friends of His Magic is actually what got me going. So, back it's so funny too. So back in 2012. I was senior in high school. My friend, he was former friend. It's been a while. My friend at the time, he was like, "Hey, have you heard about My Little Pony?" And I was like, "My Little Pony? Like, what do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's so stupid." He's like, "There's like people that are like bronies." Like he pretty much was making fun of it. So I was like, you know, he was making fun of it, but he showed me like a joke video. I mean, it was a well done joke video. I'll give it that much at the very least. But long story short, and I was like, oh man, I have to check out the show for myself. Kind of like it started off as kind of like a joke, but I actually really liked it. And you know, one episode led to 3, and then 4, and then I've watched the whole first season. And I was like, I like the show. It's really good. So that's what started it for me. And then I started getting into the show. I was into and I actually was my first official fandom I joined. I really had actually liked the show. Mainly the fandom was what really got me with the show. Really nice people, very friendly, very welcoming. And then after I started kind of, I was in the Brony fandom for a few years. I ended up finding out about furries. And I was like, well, this is kind of like, almost kind of like the Brony fandom, just a lot bigger. And then I joined that, and that's kind of where things went.
Yeah, I was a brony around that time too.
So I'd be like, so I'm like, so thank you, ponies, for letting me find the furry fandom.
Yeah. You said you were a senior in high school in 2012. I was a senior in 2013. So you're 1 year older than I am.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
it's weird hearing that from me.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. I was like, oh, when I mentioned that, people are like, oh, when'd you graduate high school? I'm like, oh, 2012. They're like, oh, really? You don't look it. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Why is it weird for you, Dirk?
I don't know. I just feel like the baby of the group with that because I'm like, 2017. I'm like, that's half a decade. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to break it.
Oh, thank you, Dirk. My oh, jeez.
Oh, you graduated high school in 2017?
Yeah, 17.
I feel another gray hair growing.
What 4? That's what math. I'm mathing in my head. That's 4 years younger than us. Other than me.
Yeah. I would have just missed you if we went to the same school. That's
are we doing are we doing age reveals right now?
Oh gosh.
Well, real age. Oh god.
Do Blaidd Marshmallow Bears, do you feel comfortable doing the same?
Oh, I'm the same age. I was in the same grade as you, Vivian.
Oh, nice. Do not feel pressured if you do not feel comfortable doing the same, Blaidd. But would you like to as well?
All I'll just say is that I'm a lot older than all of you guys. So
fair enough.
Let's leave it there.
That's fine. You do not have to name a year. That is totally fair.
Yeah. I think I might shock people. All I'll say is that I remember Test Card F being on the BBC a lot. So if you know your stuff about television presentation, you can figure things out. But that's all I'm going to say.
Fair enough. Your favorite Doctor Who was Patrick Troughton. No.
Yeah. Actually,
really? Whoa! Hey, you got good taste. I freaking love Patrick Troughton.
Oh, gosh.
Classic Doctor Who was one of the reasons I wanted to get BritBox.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Anyway, Marshmallow Bears, how did you get into the furry fandom?
Well, I've always been into Pokemon, and whenever people ask, hey, what got you in the furries? I'm just like, oh, Pokemon. And still am. Love that series.
Nice.
Met so many friends, and even my current partner through Pokemon. But then I got really into werewolves around high school.
Hey, another werewolf.
And yeah, and all that. But like, I didn't really get into the furry. Like, I perused Fur Affinity a lot growing up.
Window shopper.
But I didn't really get into the fandom until 2019 when I made Marsh. So I'm not new, but I'm also kind of new. So yeah,
Fair enough.
Pokemon and werewolves.
Yeah, nice. Blaidd, what is your furry origin story?
Well, back to the werewolves again.
Hey, the triple werewolf, you 3-wolf moon.
I would say that in some contexts.
Wow. Oh my god.
Why are you booing me? I'm right.
Yeah, it's a long-term interest in werewolves, and I'm a writer, and I've written stories from first-person perspective of a werewolf. He's a narrator. They're in there, so I've done a lot of fiction like that, and read a lot as well. And also other creatures. I mean, I got involved with supporting Wittenlaw Dreamtime when they did Kickstarter. That was 2014, maybe. And that's a game where you play as a bear, and everyone's bear folk around you. I'm actually in there. You can hear me if you ever play the game.
Oh, nice.
So that's going back to that kind of thing as well. But wouldn't really say I was really into the fandom as such until probably a while after I started playing Echo, got involved with the Discord there, and started meeting people. So I've kind of been around the edges, so to speak, without being in it before then. But it goes back quite a way.
Did the Yeti have anything to do with it from Petratron fighting the Yeti?
They do look pretty good, I have to say.
Yeah, for the time, the 60s.
Yeah.
You and I are the only ones getting this, by the way. Sorry, guys. As for me, it wasn't werewolves, but I feel like it's a bit of a basic bitch answer. My introduction to the furry fandom was through Sonic the Hedgehog. My first video game I ever bought was the first Sonic the Hedgehog game. I called it Sonic Not for Resale because the cartridge that came with the Sega Genesis was packaged with a big sticker on it. It was like part of the package print that said not for resale. So it said Sonic the Hedgehog, not for resale. And so I grew up with the Sonic franchise, and then fanfiction.net. That was my fur affinity. So reading fan fictions and getting into that, and that was basically my introduction to it. And then that intersected with bronies, and then the visual novels. That was because even when I started reading visual novels, there was a number of comments that I would say along the way. Well, I don't really consider myself a furry, but I really enjoy this. And I was in denial, man. It was.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. That's what it was. There was a lot of debate with that because some people were like, yeah, I remember that. That's how I was. I was like, I'm not a furry.
Oh, just a whole lot of looking at a brick wall and being like, why can't I walk through this thing? I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's why is that I can't seem to get through this? What's the problem here?
It took me like 4 years to like make a fur affinity. Like I discovered her in like 6th, 7th grade, and I was like, no, I'm not. And I was like, 4 years later, fine, I'll make one. To add to the epilogue.
Yeah.
Where's on you? Anyone?
Yeah. Where?
And to be fair, I think it's a lot of, to be fair, it's a lot of, there's a lot of stigma attached to being a furry. So even now, it's better. It's a lot better to me than a few years ago. But even now, still, it's kind of like,
yeah. All right. The next question. This one is going to get a little more into the subjectivity, the review, the critical eye, as it were. Everyone, get your monocles on, for Arcandre07 has asked us, what are your criterion for making a good furry visual novel? So what makes a very visual novel good to you?
ooh.
Marshmallow Bears, let's start with you.
Oh, no.
Oh, me, oh, my.
Attack!
Send in the bears!
Ah!
Get the, there's one yelp.
It's going to be, for me, what I look for in a, let's see.
Sorry,
Well,
that one yelp is still
the writing for one. It's a visual novel, so the writing has to be up to a certain standard. And then, like, at least some passion put behind the art. Like, you can tell, as an artist, I can tell when someone's just phoning in their art. So yeah, just that's my off the cuff answer.
Don't phone
that's
it
the best
in.
answer, but
Yeah. Give a fuck about what you're doing. That's the answer.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, don't make your visual novel just because everyone else is doing it. You can tell immediately when something has a lot of heart and soul put behind it.
Yeah.
That this is a story they want to tell versus they're just phoning it in for some views and internet fame.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Well, let's get into it right now. Fallenwolf, it is your turn.
Oh, jeez. So for me, partly I'm alongside Marshmallow. I think a big thing is writing, but I will add something to that. So like I prefer good writing. It doesn't have to be great. I understand everybody starts somewhere. But I think the biggest thing is believable. I think believability is the biggest thing. Like because some people, some people don't have writing chops like other people. Sometimes, some people are more detailed than other people. And like let me give a quick example. Like Minotaur Hotel. That is a very, 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 very descriptive VN, and obviously not everybody can do that, and that's okay. But there are other VNs that I've played that still I enjoy, close to Minotaur Hotel's level. But I think that's a big thing, and I also think I think another big thing, and this goes for like to me, video game development and a lot of media creation in general. Let your audience know what they're stepping into. I think that is a really big thing. I think like if you have, let's say, if you have a visual novel that for like the first half continues to have let's say a very comical very comical themes, a lot of jokes going left and right, and then out of nowhere you have I can't think of an example right now, but like a very like serious theme come up, and I mean I'm not a very like serious moment happens. I know this has happened with me at least one VN. It kind of just throws you off, and sometimes their shock value is not a bad thing, but I think you have to prepare your audience. I think that's a really big thing because I think sometimes it can be a little too much. Because I've had at least one VN I can think off the top of my head where I've played. I was like, oh, I really enjoy this. It's like kind of casual slice of life VN, and then a random scene happens, and I'm like, oh, that just happened. I wasn't expecting that at all. Completely different than what's been happening.
Yeah, I feel
But
that.
yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I just think prepare your audience though. Like, don't just out of nowhere. I think because the reason I say that is because some people are a little more susceptible to things like that, and some people are very sensitive to certain things. At the very least, give a warning. I feel like VN should give warnings for certain things. Like, hey, listen, the following scene. I think at least if you do that, that's fine. But some VNs don't do that, and like I know for me, like I have some things that are really touchy, and then I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Now I feel sad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, what makes a good visual novel, a good furry visual novel, or just a visual novel in general, for me, I love a sense of the world, and you can have a fill in the gap main character or a defined main character. Valid choice either way. You can have many branching paths or no choices at all. Valid choice either way. What to me makes a good reader experience is the idea that what you're reading in front of you isn't the only thing going on. Because if that's all that's happening, then nothing else that happens anywhere matters. And obviously you got to do the bear mechanics. You can't have just plain text making it read like a VCR like a manual. You got to have a sense of atmosphere, a sense of storytelling, a sense of making the world feel full. But overall, if all that seems to be happening is picture, talk, then we walk to a room, plot. Well, that just, it's fucking dumb. It just sucks the life out of any experience you could have.
Gives dimensionality to characters, because it's like, then you wonder like, oh, what's their type of humor of it? What's their interest beyond that? Because you could maybe pick those up from conversations. Like context details really help.
Exactly. The best thing that I have ever gotten from a visual novel reading experience is the idea that what I'm reading and what I'm seeing, because you got to also take in mind what the visual part of the visual novel is. What you're reading and what you're seeing isn't all that's there. Not only in the background or what else is going on in the world, but what a character is saying isn't all that they could say. What a character is interacting with another character isn't all that could be happening. Maybe they're holding something back, or maybe there's stuff left unsaid. Maybe there's stuff that could have happened but didn't. There's always something else that could have happened or could be happening. Stuff that is left undone or unsaid that is leading further down the road. A motivation to keep reading. Because if everything is just point for point, done for done, then there is no motivation to keep pulling on the plot threads. And that's just boring. And you could have the best, most enthralling fucking plot twist in the world, but if you don't care about what characters are doing it or the art portraying it, then it's just an interesting idea. That's all for me.
It's very, very well described.
Yeah, definitely.
Blaidd Llwyd.
Okay, for me, it's a very good story and good characters. So I want to keep reading, I want to find out what's happening. I care about characters. That's what really gets me in. I don't have to like all the characters in there. I'm quite happy to have people I really can't stand in there. Kato. But that's good, because we have a whole range of people in there. And the worst thing, as far as I am concerned with characters, is I don't care. There's a very popular writer, not a furry writer, I'm not talking about anyone in the fandom here, who apparently he's so popular, everyone loves this stuff, they rave about his books, and the TV shows are made of one of them. And I've tried to read 2 things of his. I've not completed any of them.
Oof.
I tried twice on one. I either don't care about his characters, or I absolutely loathe them. And that's just not good. So I need to at least care about some characters. I want to get to know them. And there has to be a good story with them. Just something to keep me going. And is this person going to be okay? For Archers, for example, I think we're all caring about most of the characters in there. Because we hope they're okay. Yeah. And that kind of thing doesn't have to be that dramatic. It's a slice of life. Oh, I like these people. I don't see, hope they're doing well. I want to find out what's going on next. Where are we going in the story? There's something to make me care about what's going on and keep me reading. That's pretty much what I always need.
Yeah.
I abridge my answer and say, yeah, characters. Characters are important or in a visual novel. Yeah. Like, yeah.
The fuel for the engine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now for the author of Ocean Avenue. Sorry, I feel like I keep saying your fucking visual novel's name wrong. I feel like Ocean's Avenues. I'm doing a Barnes and Nobles over here.
I like the sound of it. Ocean's Avenue. It's like some sort of prequel, sequel, whatever. Alternate universe,
like Aliens is.
Yes.
For the visual novel author in the room, Dirk the Red Panda. How do you make it good?
The part-time visual novel Arthur here.
Arthur.
So Arthur. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, my brain's just melting.
Professional writer Arthur Dirk.
I art to write good. Brain do. All right, so back on the track. What I would say, in addition to that, with characters having a good directive plot that is going somewhere, having it kind of a path for it, I think all of you just really did a great job, like describing that. So I feel like if I add to that too, it's like I'd be like kind of beating a dead horse. But where I would probably want to take this question is more in the technical aspect of it, because in addition to the writing for it, I also do like the coding for the game, some of the GUI graphics interface, that stuff. And what I would say is a important thing is having a sort of accessibility with the game. Like, I know some games where they have like time decisions or specific choices where it's like, if you don't get it right, you mess it up, and it's like things go wrong. And with my novel, I was like, hey, there should be a thing that like you could toggle on and off for that, because if you want to do it, it's fun. But for people who are just reading it or just not gonna be somebody that has like the reflexes, it really is unfair to them. And I would say, yeah, I still see some novels that haven't done it yet, but it could be a good like thing to at least have spread. But another thing in addition to that would be how there are triggers, like Fallen had mentioned. Like, it would be very helpful, I think, with like scenes like that, where it's like if they can give trigger warnings beforehand, and so you can have the choice to skip or whatnot. I feel like I'm getting really into the technical rather than what makes a novel itself good, but those are some of the like side details I would mention. But if I had to actually say what makes a novel good to me and really catches my interest, is mainly having a good plot, a good sense of character development, dynamics, being able to kind of imagine who they are outside of the main story of like, oh, imagine if I did write a fan fiction somewhere else about them. Like, I could piece together what they are and not have to like pull out from my butt what they would be like or whatnot. Something that is gripping, something that you'd be like, oh, I would like to hang out with this character, or it's like, oof, I would hate to have this character around me. So yeah, mainly that. And I think maybe art in a sense is secondary, but it is still important to at least maybe see a sense of like it's coming to its final product, even if it's not whatever, some sort of Mona Lisa or amazing thing. Just knowing that at least when the artists or story makers are making it, that it has a sense of like its completion if it's getting towards the end of it, or it's having a work in progress, just to show that, yeah, there is some passion, some effort into it. Because otherwise you feel like, you know, is it worth investing if it doesn't look like it's going somewhere or getting finished at all?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point, because when I'm looking at a game on itch, if it could have the most like stunning story in the world, but if it looks like the art was drawn MS Paint style, like if you've seen those like Ringo MS Paint drawings, like
not really.
it's unfair to say, but like it's a book by its cover judging. Like, I'm less likely to pick up a visual novel if the preview pictures look like the game is unfinished. I'm more likely to be like, maybe we'll wait until it's done a little more. But the story could be done entirely, and it would just be like, maybe it's a writer who could not afford a professional artist, and so they had to draw it themselves, but they're just not, an experienced artist. And so they need more exposure to get the artist, but because they can't get proper exposure because people keep overlooking their visual novel because the visual part isn't as appealing, they're kind of trapped in that whole, you need an entry-level job to get the experience, but you can't get experience for an entry-level job kind of circle.
Well, somebody's going through this right now and has two thumbs.
Yeah. So it's kind of it's kind of an unfair thing, but it's an unfortunate truth about the superficiality of this sphere that maybe sometimes we kind of need to take a different inventory about. Also, I wanted to give a special notice when you guys were mentioning devs mentioning putting in different triggers and notices for scenes. It's not 100% on topic, but I wanted to give a special notice to Hyper Wolfstar Paul Diggs, the dev behind Wolfstar Sins in Paradise, because when I first played Wolfstar Sins in Paradise on my channel, there wasn't a streamer mode, and after I played it, and like 90% of the fucking videos was just censored because the beginning part of that game, the main character is naked.
Yeah.
It was basically just the video was fucking just a picture of a fruit bat because that's how I censored my videos.
I watched you play that, and I remember that.
They actually went through and implemented a streamer mode. They changed.
Hell yeah.
That's so good to hear.
Yeah. They did it so that you toggle it and it will tell you right before there's any nudity or anything like that. So they implemented it for people who are doing that. And that was such a considerate move. They actually put more work in to do it. And so that's a positive example, not quite in terms of like a sensitivity for triggers, but in the same vein, they altered their work for people with special needs. So shout out to Paul Diggs for that. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and did you start it? But did you start the series when you were streaming still, or was this like?
I was.
Oh, that was so hard to like throw
That's why
sensors like midstream.
That's why I couldn't go back and just edit it because.
Yeah, because as a streamer, I had that experience with certain novels where it's like, oh, I didn't know this scene came up. And it's like, oh no, they're naked, and you're like struggling to get the sensor bar up. You're like, oh, is it gonna get demonetized because of 2 seconds I wasn't looking?
Exactly.
I always keep a screen-sized sensor on standby, and
that's what I do. I usually have it on the in OBS, but I just have it like obviously invisible, and I just because sometimes you can't. It's so hard with some you just have no idea. Like sometimes you're really just playing like, oh, it's a nice wholesome moment, friends, bros, just being bros, and then it's like, oh, okay. And they're like, oh.
And then they drop their pants. Like, what the fuck? We're at Walmart, you fucking pervert. What the hell?
Wouldn't be surprised.
Knowing this fandom?
Oh, man.
Oh, God. Anyway. Next question.
Good way to move.
Coming by way of CV4, the wonderful CV4, and Mothra665 as narrators of VNs, I want to know if you have any gripes with the structure of visual novels as entertainment, not necessarily just as furry visual novels. There are always some discussion if VNs are considered games or not. So, what are your thoughts on that? Are visual novels games or not? We'll go down the line. Let's go with the variety streamer first. Marshmallow Bears.
Oh God, me again.
Yes, it's me again.
There's so many kinds of games. I literally just played a game that was like half visual novel, half movie. We are OFK, and I'd consider visual novels games. If that's a game, then these books that you can watch and read are games. Some games are just more narrative, some are just more gameplay focused. I consider it a game.
Nice. Dirk, creator of another visual novel. Is your visual novel a game? And why?
Oh man. Is my novel a game? Is that the question?
Is your novel
yours? The only visual novel that matters.
The only visual novel on the internet. Yes. Yeah. Oh no, it's gonna be after every question. Dirk, the creator of Ocean Avenue. What's your answer? Oh no, not the plugging. Oh no.
Yes, the plugging.
Oh, Jesus. All right, so I would say mine is more like a game, like Marsh said, because there are some like interactive parts with it. For my game, I do have like a interactive volleyball type of scene where it's like you choose where the character moves and like the timing of like setting the ball and some things like that. And I'm trying to think like a little bit beyond that, because there are some that kind of are in the middle of that between visual novel and RPG. There was one I played a while back named Notes of Hearts, and part of that was like a combat-based system in addition to the visual novel reading aspect. So I think the visual novel sense, rather than it technically being its own like subgenre, I think it's kind of like in addition to a story, in the sense how there's like combat scenes, or like how there might be action like first person shooters, or like stuff in that aspect where it can be considered its own genre, but in a sense it could be plugged into other genres as an additional form of the media. Like there could be hybrid senses of it, the dialogue based dialogue box type of reading in addition to other things. So I think it can be, and I guess answering that question, mine in a sense technically is, even if it's very bare bones. But yeah, I like seeing that.
Would you consider? Oh, you're good. Would you consider a game that has barely any, if no, choices? It's just a visual novel where the only control is clicking to the next thing. Is that a video game?
I would say yes. It's kind of an interesting thing, because when I first think about it, the first instance is like, no, it's just a book with pictures. There aren't any pictures in this book, or whatever the line was from Beauty and the Beast. But yeah, I would say it is, because you're still going through like the loading of it, the saving of it. It's not a traditional book form in a sense. It's not just all the dialogue at once. You have to interact with this thing. Even if you are just clicking from page to page to page, it has like whatever is on screen in addition to the words, even if it's just a plain old background or something like that. I mean, it's like, I guess the difference between that and just a typical like maybe ebook or an online book is that the digestion of the content is more beat for beat with a visual novel, which is more so what you get with a game. You're taking it step by step, beat by beat, rather than having to go through it kind of like a credits roll, where it's like you're rolling through the actions at a pace. Like there is a little more of the pace. Even if you are just clicking fast forward, if you're like, I don't care for this scene, you still are having to deal with it kind of in a step gradual phase. If that makes sense.
I can get you. Blaidd Llwyd.
Yeah, I would actually go with them being games rather than just something like Agatha Christie's The Clocks, which I haven't been looking at my copy of at the moment, because there is the interactivity in there. You can sometimes have choices, which Backbone and Tales, the Backbone Preludes, the demo played just recently, they are definitely games. I would say they're not video games, but in way of the VNs, there's a lot of dialogue choices. And in Tales, you can actually choose aspects of the character, so they can be more thoughtful, more caring, more driven. There are options like that, which are very similar to dialogue options in the VN. So in that sense, yeah, I would say there are definitely more games, but also when you're developing a VN and you're doing the coding, you have an option which writers of prose don't, because once you print a book, that's it. It's the reader can read how fast they want. But you can control things in the VN. You can put a pause in there, so the reader has to pause for a moment when they're reading this thing. You can choose how much text to have on the screen. So you have a couple of short lines, a couple of long lines. You choose how much the reader is taking in at any given time, which is a bit like in video games as well. The people making the game can control what's on the screen, what's going to happen next. Is it going to go into combat? Are you just walking along? Which the player can't control. That's the developer. And they can do a similar thing in the VN. So I'd say on the whole, yeah, we consider them video games.
Very nice.
Oh, if I could add to that quickly, it's like when you're reading in school, it's like, you know, some people are really fast readers. Some people may be slower and like take it at their own way of reading. Sometimes people are they can immediately read the page. Some people have to go line by line. With a visual novel, you at least have it like, this is how much you're going to read at a time instead of that. Sorry, just an addendum I had to add to my answer.
Definitely. And I would also include that I've seen some books where they've been written out of the traditional like pages of words. Some books are more stylized where there's just one line on a page or stuff's written all kinds of weird. And some books are written intentionally where you have to read only this on a page or written different kinds of things. I remember reading a book where one perspective from one of the characters was written on one side and the other was written backwards, flip the book around, and that's the other character. So like if you wanted one side of the story, you read it in one side and the other in the other. And so there are ways for even on books to control that way. And I'm saying this because I think the whole discussion of classifying what is and isn't is too constrictive. I remember you mentioned in books you can have books with choices. Those choose your own adventure books.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider those books and games. And so when you get into whether they're video games, well, they have video components. So obviously you can include video. And if they include a game component, then in the technicalist sense, yes, video and game, both of those are satisfied in terms of the most clinical aspect of the words. But if you generalize it to such a degree, anything that is entertaining and interactive to any degree, that can be considered it. I would as well. The oldest game in terms of a board game is Moncala. I love this game. You can play it with rocks and holes dug in the ground. And it dates back to like 6,000 or 12,000 BC or some shit. It's incredible. And I play it to this day. It's incredible. That is a game. And VN's just as simple. You can play it with one click. Whether it has choices, interactivity, in character motivations, adjustable models, or none of that shit. Temptation's Ballad has no choices, no adjustable main character motivations, no change in the name of the main character, none of that. Still a video game in my mind. Fallenwolf.
Gosh, now you're gonna have me.
Sorry,
Okay.
I tend to go on a little too long.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fun to hear.
See, now you guys are gonna be awkward. It's gonna be controversial now. So I'm gonna say I feel like it depends.
Okay.
For me, I feel like it depends. The reason I say that to me, if you are making a choice that if it's a visual novel where you actually get to make choices, I think it's a video game. If you don't, in my opinion, I would say no, because with making a choice that requires actual player input, in my opinion, compared to something where you're just reading, it doesn't necessarily require player input. Yes, you're clicking a button, and that's a fair point. But many VNs now have what's called an auto mode, so technically, even that you don't technically have to click the button to actually get the visual novel to continue. The reason I say that is because, like, to me, if it requires no player input, it's just like reading a book, which to me is obviously not a video game. So that's my opinion. I'm
Fair
more
enough.
than willing to hear what you, like I said, I heard what you guys said and brought up some interesting points, but that's just my opinion. I feel like
Yeah.
it's a case by case basis for me.
Yeah. To each their own. Everyone has their own point of view. That's all right.
I could raise you one on if it's a game or not and go with if they're voice acted, is it technically a show? Kind of like the example Marsh gave of it being partly a movie.
I was gonna say, because like I was just thinking about the example I gave where the We Are OFK technically doesn't say it's a game. It describes itself as an interactive music EP. So, but it's a kind of like how graphic novels are comics, but not all comics are graphic novels.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That kind of thing. It's a square and a rectangle situation where they're all X, but not all X or Y. You know.
Oh god, I had a class on that back in college where it's like, yeah, you had to actually like mathematically prove that stuff. It was a pain in the butt, but we are not going to get into the details of that. But yeah, the example I was thinking of is the Hasty Night, because it's like that has like fully voice acted stuff, but it still has decisions on what you would make and paths on where you can go. So there is that sense of choice like in the game, but you could still sit down, like follow that said, and just hit auto to like just watch it before those decisions come up.
Here's the real question. Are Pop-Tarts ravioli?
I knew it was going to be something.
Ravioli is a pasta and Pop-Tarts are a pastry.
What's the difference? They're made of the same thing. You can have baked ravioli.
The actual answer is ask an Italian. I don't know. They have opinions on this.
I don't know anyone here's nationality or ethnic background. I don't want to assume that.
I could say I'm not Italian. That is one off the list.
All right, then we'll leave it up to the experts. Moving on. The next question from Trinex Slayer. Which caricature
Voice actors in the group.
Oh yes, flubs are aplenty. Which character archetypes are you sick of seeing, and which would you like to see more of?
Oh gosh.
Dirk the Red Panda, author of the esteemed visual novel Ocean Avenue.
Oh no, the peak. Oh man. The character archetypes. I should start with the good news first rather than the bad news. The ones I want to see more of would probably be like the more bigger, stockier or brawny type of characters with a heart of gold. It's so easy to make them very like stoic, very few lines, or make them a jerk because they're a jock or something big. I mean, sure, there are still examples of that, but it is nice to see that more so in like very bestial or monster characters. Like, since a lot of us here got into fandom because of werewolves, I've been craving to see like novels that like will implement a sense of that, where it's like a werewolf or some sort of like supernatural bestial character that is usually taken as a plot device to be the evil, the antagonist, and yeah, flip it on its head, flip the perspective of that. And yeah, I guess maybe it's the avenue of what I am in. I don't see it as much, but it would be something that I would like to see. At least that would be one thing. I can't think of other ones off the top of my head because I was so ready to punch that answer in. So I guess I can go to the things I am tired of, and then if I think of anything else, I'll like pop it in. But what I'm really tired of seeing are the characters that have all their crap together. Like the ones that are like, I am the best at this. I am just the absolute leader who has complete control over the situation, where it just seems like they have no room for growth. There are some stories like that where it's just like they seem to already be the leader, the chief, the whatever head honcho of stuff. And there's just not much to chew off of. I mean, it's really tough to see that. Like, I'm trying to think of the exact example I had in my head of that, but I mean, like Far Beyond the World, I guess I could use, for example, if I'm not punching on it too hard, but it's like we have Rannoch and Volgor and those characters, and Varissa. I was about to say some other names because I think of like the V's and different names. We have Vivian here, and but yeah, all those characters are like already the leaders at what their position is, like head hunter of the tribe or whatnot, or like the shaman and whatnot. And it's like you don't get to see much of how they get there. It's just like they're already getting that. They already have it for granted, and you're just kind of left to sit there and be like, well, you're just kind of in their car. They're already on the steering wheel, as opposed to seeing a character kind of work their way up to that. Maybe they're not as prepared with that. Like a good counterexample to that would be Adastra. Like, although Amicus is slated for the emperorship, it's like he has a lot of room to that he has to develop in order to get that. He has to fight for it. He has to work for it. He has other stuff going beyond that, where even though it may seem like, oh, he's just the royal child, he's spoiled, he's already in this royalty position, he has to deal with how he's going to get there, who he's going to make the proper connections with. Will he do it with Nefero? Will he put his sister is it Verissa?
Virginia.
Virginia, god dang it. I was like, the two V's are going to confuse me there. Yeah, so Virginia, and like, you know, is she going to be put in any power because of her like traditional rules of being a woman in this, you know, household? And then Cassius, what is Cassius going to do? How will he be involved with that? Even Cato, to a sense. So it's like, you get a sense of sort of tension, even if the character's, you know, slated for something, have some sort of like potential for like conflict or for growth within that. It's just, for me, I get really tired when it's like the character already has it, they have it all, they're having the best lives of whatever, because then it's like, where do you go from there? You're just sliding down the hill. It's not as fun as climbing up the hill. I mean, even if climbing up in real life is a pain, but yeah, you don't get a sense of, what is it? A sense of satisfaction from doing it. You don't feel accomplished.
Mm-hmm. I feel you there. I'll go next. The character archetype I would like to see more of. I've always enjoyed the snarky but wise old person in TV. I'm a big fan of the Golden Girls, and Sophia's always been a favorite of mine, but I always like the stories where something from the snarky but wise old person's past comes back and you have to like recontextualize them. And I feel like that archetype gets kind of underserved in these visual novels because you get a lot of young people that get focused on, and generally old people get either not an appearance or they get just sort of like shunted out as the old person that's kind of annoying.
Yeah, that's another one. It's like they're all set in high school or college. It's like, can we have some like adult stories? Not in that way, but can we have some where it's like you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s? Yeah.
Or just have a variety of characters. You know, diversity isn't just a flag word that you put in to make yourself seem like you're, you know, doing a good. You know, it's actually, it serves a good narrative purpose other than making yourself seem like a good person. But, you know, it helps in a variety of ways. So I like those character archetypes. Just do it well, please. Don't just make them the nice one. And then the character archetype I am fucking sick and tired of is the villain for no reason who takes bullying to the extreme of felonies for no good fucking reason. They're just, I hate you, no real reason why, and they'll go from, I don't like you, I'll shove you into your locker. And then when it goes further on, they go from that to like, I'm going to stab you or kidnap your family for no fucking good reason. They just go all the way to that. Why? Fucking ended nothing ever. Just no intervention. No, just obvious that's gonna fucking happen, and no
background story.
Yeah, no background story. No reason for it. No one sees that, and you know, in the build up to it, and thinks maybe we should get the authorities involved. I'm still pissed about how fucking Chester's route ended in extracurricular activities. I got we've been, for diplomacy's sake, trying not to list specific things to make it seem like the bulk of our complaints are listed on specific things. And this is not the prime example of this. But how in the fuck did the police never get involved with Vernon in that game. For those who haven't played it, I apologize for bringing this. Yeah, I apologize for bringing up this very specific example. So I'll leave it there. But that was a glaring fucking problem. And it's indicative of that kind of archetype where gruesomely terrible shit is done by people by characters who go way overboard to prove that they're the bad guy in a narrative that doesn't call for it, and then the obvious thing that should have been done to prevent it or counteract it is never done because it would make too much sense or it would cut the payoff down too early, and it's fucking dumb.
Yep.
That's kind of funny. I'm gonna, we said we're not gonna name, but I still haven't. The only route for extracurricular activities I finished so far as coaches, and it's kind of ironic because I'm not gonna say what happens, but
yeah,
I believe that a certain person got law enforcement involved. So it's really bizarre to hear you say that for a certain other character's route that law enforcement doesn't get involved. I'm like, it's a little off-putting, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and even in that situation, it should have happened sooner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I completely agree with that.
But moving swiftly on from that, Blaidd Llwyd. What character archetypes are you sick of seeing of, and which ones would you like to see more of?
Well, first off, I have to tell Dirk I might have good news for you with your idea of what you'd like to see more of, but I can't say anything more right now. As to what I'm kind of tired of, a lot of it is the unpleasant character who somehow is a romance option.
Oh, God.
It can be done well. I haven't seen it very often. It took quite a long time for me to... Okay, I see where Tyson is coming from in Password. Here's an example. Okay, I've changed my opinion over time with him, but wherever you see that kind of thing, okay, I really dislike this person. Why is the main character interested in them? With him, okay, we have history coming into it. That's a bit better. I can deal with that. But yeah, anything, okay, this person's a complete jerk. They're nasty to everyone. Yet somehow the main character likes them and thinks they can change them or whatever. I'm done with that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not looking forward to the Haruki route in Tennis Ace.
Mm-hmm, I agree with that.
Yeah.
There's going to be a...
Yeah.
Really? There's going to be a Haruki?
It's just playing
it's
into
like a side route.
Yeah, just playing into thirst people, and it's why. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I mean, some people want it for the fan service. I'm personally kind of curious, but yeah, it wouldn't be like my first. I need this, and I can understand why people are tired.
His main character trait is he has daddy issues, and he says slurs as general conversation.
Mm-hmm.
No, not a good guy. No, fuck him. Anyway, I'm sorry I cut you off.
Oh, no problem. Wrote over this. So, and what I'd like to see more of is similar to what you were saying, Vivian. The older person, the kind of the cool older guy, for example. I mentioned Whitendall earlier. I'm actually, when I'm in there, I play a 125-year-old blind seer with a very interesting sense of humor. And he was great fun to play, and I just love seeing characters like that. Very intelligent, they're very wise, they've seen a lot, they have a sense of humor about almost everything, and they're great to hang around. And we don't really see too much of that. They don't have to be the old, okay, let's go and see Grandma kind of thing. Oh, yeah. Hello, dear. I was just doing my knitting. And no, we don't need that. If you someone will get involved with things, like a bit of Miss Marple going in there as well. They know all these things. They're highly intelligent, and you don't always maybe get it at first, but they really know what's going on.
Yeah.
So something like that. Yeah, I'd definitely like to see more of that.
Yeah. I mean, what was one of the characters that everyone... I feel so bad I keep bringing this up, but what was one of the characters that was most excited to come back for the Five Doctors was the Brigadier.
Mm-hmm.
he was older. He was, what was he, a teacher in that one at that point? He wasn't even the...
He was a teacher in Mordred and Dead, yeah. He's retired from unit when he's in the Five Doctors, definitely.
Yeah. So, but he, at that point, had the older guy, the experience at that point, but he was still had that old charm to him. And
oh, yeah.
It was just fun to see that, and god damn! And you could even say the old person charm played for pretty much almost all of the classic Doctors up until arguably 4. He still was kind of there, and then after that, they got young after that. That's why I really like 12. 12 is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love his performance.
Yeah. Again, we're the only ones getting
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
When it comes to Doctor
when it comes
Who.
to modern Doctor Who, I'm a big fan. So
okay, cool. Okay. At least Peter Capaldi we got one more in there when we mentioned Peter Capaldi. Anyway, we'll move on from that. Then we bring in Fallenwolf.
Yay.
Archetypes. What do you like and what do you don't like? What are you sick of and what do you want more?
I'm always the one. I feel so bad because I always feel like I'm bringing some controversy every choice I'm making. I'm like,
it's the juicy part. This is what I get messages about.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm gonna say one thing I'm really sick and tired of seeing. I'm really the archetype. Archetype. I am tired of seeing
word.
in furry visual novels is definitely at least one of them, big one for me, is seeing the characters that are like homosexual characters that are like afraid of their sexuality, like the I can't use the word. Sundares. I probably butchered that word. Thank you. Like the ones that are like these guys are like, oh no, I'm not gay, but like bullies the main character, or you know what I'm. There you go. You know what I'm talking about. You know, I've seen a decent amount of those, and after a while, it just gets tiring. It's like, okay, it's like, why is it always like there's a character that's like denies their sexuality and denies their feelings, and they're constantly harassing the MC or other characters.
And we know how this story ends.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, and we know how this story's gonna end. They're gonna, you know, the main character is gonna be the savior and teach them that it's okay to be gay. And it's kind of frustrating because it's something I notice a lot. It's a trope I'm noticing a lot about a lot of times in, and it's just frustrating because I don't like that trope because it makes me feel like that it's, you know, some people, you know, it should just be a casual thing. Why are we making like a big thing? Like a big deal about it. Like just that's who they are. That's who they are. Why do you know? I feel like it draws more attention and it makes it awkward.
Yeah.
It also seems like something you see a little too much in real life, which sometimes you want to just get away from that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why it's like it can be frustrating because it's like you really like I see it a lot, and it's just kind of frustrating because it's like it, you know, why can't we just have a character that's happy with their sexuality? Why do we, you know, why can't we just have a character that's a normal thing for they have actual, like, you know, other issues that are a major component of them?
Yeah.
It's just
boils it down to gay. It's like,
yeah,
can I be gay? Am I not? Can I? It's like there's more to a story than just being gay.
And I'm not gonna bring up, you know, obviously I'm not gonna bring up like name VNs, but there's some VNs like I've noticed with it, and it just turns me off so much because it's like, oh, it's another one of those VNs where the character's like, oh no, I'm not gay. I can't be gay. Oh, what if I come out as gay? And it's like, why can't we just
like, do you think about anything else in the day? Like,
yeah, and it's just frustrating to see because I feel like it just plants like this, you know, and it's probably exaggeration, but almost plants like this target. Like it makes it out like everybody, like, you know, is just like, but that was the big one. That was the big one I was talking about. So besides that though, the thing I would like to see more of is I think Dirk mentioned it earlier. I would like to see more older adult characters who are struggling. I don't think we see enough of that, especially of MCs, just love interest in general. Usually, most times they seem like they have their stuff together. Most times the characters are all like college age, so they're in that, they're transitioning to that point in their life where it's understandable, where they're like, oh, I'm going to another point in my life and I'm trying to, understand things to figure out who I am. But there's adults that deal with that stuff too. It's not only, young adults. There's older people that deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
And I would really like to see more of that, because like I understand, at least from for me as an example, I understand that I'm dealing with, current like life transitioning, and I feel like it would be good to see a good way for older people who are struggling with those to feel like it's not weird, because like I said, it's not only like young adults or people that are about to graduate high school that deal with those things. They're, life circumstances happen, and some people might be older and didn't get time to really figure out what they want.
Yeah, I mean, there's even older people with like, their own older person problems and whatnot with it too. It just seems like if you limit stuff too much to high school, college, that golden year area, it just feels like for people beyond that, it's just all in the past for them. Or if like people are younger in that thing, it seems like that's what it should be like. And yeah, it's like, that's kind of a problem too. And sometimes you hear about in the fandom in general, it's like, oh, if you're beyond 25 or 30 or you're dead or whatever, or like you're too old. And it's like, oh, I hate that archetype so much. Even as somebody that's younger, it makes you feel like such an ominous thing. It's like, hey, older people can be creative and into stuff too and whatnot. And they can still, show their stuff in the fandom. Yeah. We need more of that, or we need to at least platform more of that per se. There is stuff in it. It's just not as like recognized.
But I think that's a big thing. I think we don't see enough older characters who are, especially in furry visual novels, that are like, trying to like figure out their life and having issues, life issues that they want to figure out. They always make it out to be like, oh, when you're like 20, you're like 22, 23, your whole life should be figured out. Everybody knows everything, like kind of, it's like,
yeah, it's not like you hit, say, 33, everything in your life is sorted, fine, no problems, you're sailing through. Absolutely not. I can attest to that.
Yeah,
a lot of us who aren't in high school or college ever are still dealing with a lot of things. So yeah, it's good to see that more.
Yeah, they're not even going to solve everything in those eras. Like that's going to be the toughest thing for me when I write, is because they're all college age. It's not like you want to write as, oh, they figure out every single thing. It's like people, they'll have their conflicts and resolutions, but it's like still beyond that. It's like, just because you graduate college or whatnot doesn't mean you're going to be a perfect person, either with your life choices or just whoever yourself is in general. So just you got to have continuous growth.
Yeah. And finally, Marshmallow Bears. What archetypes are archetypes? The little ones, the younger age, the underage archetypes. This the ones that haven't gotten off their feet yet.
The little babies.
The little baby archetypes. What character archetypes are you sick of seeing, and which ones would you like to see more of?
The one for that, what I don't want to see more of, the one that jumped out to me was just the perfect your name here protagonist that has the answer to everything. I hate that. It's just like, I won't name names, but there's a visual novel that I really, really like, but the protag just has the perfect fucking answer to these very difficult problems, and it just takes me out of it. I'm just like, no one would just have this perfect answer right off the bat to this. No.
It's or like the perfect quip to some weird fucking. I hate that shit.
It's just like, wow, they danced through this minefield perfectly. What the fuck?
It's almost like the writer went through them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just... that's.
Can a guy get flummoxed for a little bit, please?
Yeah, it's just like, you just miss so much chance for mistakes and character growth, and just, like... yeah, people learning through mistakes. I don't know. That's just what I'm kind of sick of. And a side note on things I just hate seeing in visual novels and anything is just the fat character that only cares about food or just keeps bringing up food.
Oh
Please,
god,
fucking stop.
it's such a stereotype. I hate it.
Like, I love the boy, best boy, but Carl got there a little bit for me in Echo. Near the beginning, I was just like, God, can you shut up?
I just want to smoke pot and eat my cookies. Come on.
Yeah.
Why are we worried about this spooky town? I just want to get high and eat all of the food in the world. I'm rich.
Oh my gosh.
But and then I don't know if there is a lack of these, but a character archetype that I'm finding that I really like nowadays is just the excited nerd who like talks about his interests and shit. I like that.
Yeah.
I want to see. I just want to see more adorable nerds.
Yeah.
We love the hyperfixations.
Yeah.
I love to see that.
Ah, those are fun. I like those too. Well, speaking and staying on the theme of characters and what we do like, this is a positive question. Inugami the Hound asks, "What are your picks for the underrated furry visual novels and furry visual novel characters?" Just underrated, not the ones that everyone. Why am I explaining what underrated fucking means? Jesus Christ! It's like I'm trying to give you guys time to think, but also I'm like just explaining all the fucking time. Just shut up! All right.
Quick, play the Jeopardy music while we think of the answer.
Ding, 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 ding. All right. I'll go first. For the record, I already have my pick here. Underrated furry visual novel. My pick has always been The Hayseed Knight because I don't feel like near enough people play and talk about this one. It was already been mentioned here, and I was over the moon when it got mentioned because I abso-fucking-lutely love this one. It doesn't get updated a lot, but that's because it is incredibly detailed with the voice acting and the animation and the art and the writing. It is so freaking good. I abso-fucking-lutely love it, and it really needs to get played more. As far as furry visual novel characters, that one is a little harder for me because I feel like so many of them deserve love and attention. But I just have to go back to what the fuck was that? What was that?
Hey, man.
Did someone get shot? What the hell was that?
I thought it was a door.
Who was that? Jesus Christ, that scared me.
I wish it could have been one of the doors behind me here, but I didn't hear it properly. I'm wearing headphones here. So.
Oh God!
Oh no! I don't even know who came
into
from.
it.
I didn't even hear what happened.
Did anyone else hear that, or was that just me?
I heard it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck me, man. I'm sorry. I have to go back to, and it feels weird. Because I've always been adamant that Amorous does not count as a furry visual novel. And I feel really, really weird including this. And if it doesn't count, I have an alternate answer. But I really enjoyed Seth from Amorous. This was back when Amorous, before it got like really, really trashy. Like there was like the first three characters, like it was still trash, but it got really fucking bad. Like the first three characters, and then there was like a pause before it kind of like got inundated with a bunch of other art writers and a bunch of other artists and a bunch of other shit. It was still conceived and produced by garbage. And but Seth, I really liked. He was just this innocent, like writer and just kind of shy and introverted, and I really liked him. But considering Amorous is not a furry visual novel and is in fact a dumpster fire, if that is not an acceptable answer, I would say Philip from Repeat. I just really like Philip. I feel like he has a lot of misguided rage that needs to be worked on, but also a lot of really good intentions. And I cannot wait for his route to get more fleshed out, because I want to see more of what makes this little guy tick.
Yep.
Well, okay. Well, yep.
You're thinking here. I'm thinking here.
That felt menacing. I was like, did I speak ill in the room?
There's a trained sniper on your position right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I've been waiting for a long time. Okay. Where the fuck have you been? All right.
We're like the kids in the class where we stay quiet so that you don't pick on us.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm gonna pick the one that always stays quiet. Blaidd Llwyd.
Sorry, you're the sacrifice.
That's what you get for being polite in my class.
That's why I've never picked on the quiet kids when I've been teaching.
We love you for that.
I've just been thinking through some of the characters. So I've familiar quite a few of them, and it's still early on. But Dawn Chorus, if you've been watching my videos, you know I'm going through Bjorn's route, and he's definitely a character I don't see too much of. I haven't seen much in the way of art from any Dawn Chorus stuff, or maybe I'm just missing it. There may be piles of art I just don't know about. But I really do like him. There's definite depth to this character, and he talks about his writing, which is something I identify with. And he's very interesting, but I don't hear too much about him or too many of the characters from that VN, which is unfortunate because I'm playing some of the routes on my own time, and it's really good. So
which character was it? I didn't catch it.
Bjorn, he's the bear.
Oh, Bjorn, sorry.
Yeah.
I haven't played Dawn Chorus, so I just didn't catch the name. So
that's fair enough, yeah.
I've gotten a lot of recommendations for it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd say if I had to pick one, I don't see much about him. I don't hear much about him, but I really like that character.
Nice. And your underrated furry visual novel, is it also Dawn Chorus?
I would say so, yeah. Again, I don't see much about it. I am really enjoying reading it.
Nice. Marshmallow Bears.
So this is gonna be hard for me because I'm new to this and I've only played the big names.
Very relatable.
The only one that I played that isn't one of the big names has to be Dawntide, and it's one of my favorites. So I'm gonna say Dawntide, and I'm gonna pick one of my favorite characters from the game, Ronzo. He's just a big lovable oaf, and I love me a big lovable oaf.
Aww.
Yeah, he was so sweet when you were at him.
But I am taking your guys as you guys are talking. I am looking up these games and adding them to my list. So.
Ooh,
nice.
Googling. I got to really think hard about mine then. If you're looking them up, Marsh, gotta give you a good recommendation.
So I think I've already mentioned it, obviously, the last part. So underrated, I'll probably say 4-letter word again. I think that's, like I said, I think that's a really well-done visual novel, and I think it's one of the few ones, we mentioned this earlier, like, with, like, having VNs or characters that are, like, adults, but, like, don't really, like, have everything figured out. That has characters like that. Both the main characters are like that, and which is one of the reasons why I really enjoy that VN. But underrated character-wise, I'm gonna go all in on the 4-letter word because
Nice.
I had to think about it. I would say one of the main characters in that one, his name is Colby, and he's actually a porn star. Now the reason he's a porn star, but I like it because when most of us think of, most of us people think of porn stars, we think about like, oh, these are people that are like just like vain and obsessive, and they just like having sex. And the irony with Colby is he got into it because he didn't feel like he had anything else. And I don't feel like we get into like a lot of stories. Like I said, I don't feel like we get into a lot of visual novels that really go into detail with a character that's like a porn star or adult entertainment star, and really talk about like why some people go into it. And that's what I really enjoyed about him. Like I said, he went into it for a reason. He didn't know what he wanted to do. It was a chance meeting with one of his hookups, and he decided to do it because he felt like he didn't have anything else that he could do, and he just wanted to get out of his hometown. He didn't want to feel like he was trapped in his hometown. And so at the moment, it would be that. I'm sure later on I'll be like, oh, I should have said this character. But for the moment, I'm putting all in on 4-letter word. And those are 2 characters.
Yeah. Nice. And we gave the disclaimer last time, but of course it should go again. Any of the favorites or the top this or that or the other. This is all impromptu. I barely skimmed over these, and all the questions are on the spot for y'all. So as with anything, these things are opinions, and opinions can change with the tides and the winds and the yada fucking yada. So take everything with that disclaimer in mind. Dirk the Red Panda, author of such and such.
My visual novels that I think are underrated. Besides Don Chorus, I mean, Blaidd, you took my answer there. Yeah, I was really bummed about that. But I mean, I think another novel that I would consider probably underrated that... Yeah, so I'm just like trying to look up the exact name for it. Fun fact, right now I am looking up the sprites mod for March Madness to help me with references for all the novels I played.
Well, this is edited, so take your time. Take your time.
Okay. This could be like a 20-minute pause.
By the way, that's a nice way of saying hurry up.
Yeah. No, take your time, motherfucking take your time.
Oh man.
Me and Blaidd can talk about Doctor Who some more. So is Paul McGann canon or not?
All right. I guess I might as well go first with which character I think is underrated, because I was thinking of Don Chorus. I would say Mikko, Mikko, from Don Chorus. Even though he's one of the characters that interacts most with our MC, because he's like, the childhood friend and all that. They've had like a falling out, but they're finally like back together at this place. He's such a sweet, adorable, wholesome being. And it's just like, I know like many other people like different characters in that story, like Lake, or trying to think of who else. Who's the deer character? He's also there. And then there's Panther Devin. Yeah, like everybody just likes those guys. It's like, yeah, for me, it's just Mikko, just something about him just seems so precious, and just, it's interesting too, because you've seen the kind of the differences between the falling out between our MC and him, and yeah, I just can't wait to see where that goes from there. I don't know if there have been any updates beyond day 2, because I think he's only had 1 day so far that I've played, and there's like however many characters that they're rotating through. So he's one of those characters I really think is pretty sweet, and just, like to talk with more. Nice. But going back to the visual novels, I think are underrated, because like Marsh, I feel like I keep playing a lot of the big hitters, the heavy hitter stories. But I would say, I think the name of the story has changed from what it originally was. Like, it was originally called ICO, and I think it might be Machina now, or something along those lines. It starts with an M, but
Machina Lucis or something like that. Yeah,
Machina Lucis or something along those lines. But yeah, I really enjoyed that novel, just because it was like, even though it took the whole Evangelion archetype of like mechs fighting each other, all that stuff, end of the world, apocalyptic style of the world, it really felt like it was beyond that too. You really felt a development within the characters. There wasn't just fighting, action. You really cared for what the characters wanted and did. Like, you have little side things they do, like little meals together, going out for a bit for whatever reason. And yeah, the characters were really well developed. I was really bummed when it went on hiatus, but luckily, the writer for that, Cetus, is getting back into it. I think he may have gotten somebody else on board with it too, but yeah, he's like revamping the series. I'll have to check in on it to see where it's gone from here, but either it's going to be Mission Lutus or ICO, whatever the name is now. Definitely an underrated one. And yeah, it's going to be progressing, I think, too. So definitely check in on that if you want something that is ongoing.
Nice. As long as they don't take the ending from Evangelion, that should be a lot better, too.
Oh, the multiple endings.
The people in the know get whatever. The next question we got here is another kind of background question to introduce the origins. We're really getting into the lore of all of us here. From Mothra665, what was the one thing, novel, character, moment, etc., that really made you realize you really liked furry visual novels? Not what started you, but what made you really realize that you enjoyed what you were doing?
What I would say got me really into it was just kind of starting out when I was reading them on my own, and before I even started the channel, trying out my voices of, I think this character is like this, kind of like role-playing the characters within the scenarios. It just, hearing those different voices and perspectives and whatnot just made me really think, oh, it's just beyond the reading, because I don't know if I said this to you guys or somebody else, but when I was growing up, I hated reading. I was just not a good reader. It took me much longer to read, and just, my brain just could not like comprehend how people would enjoy it. I'm like, it's just words on a page. How can you? Like, I was just not focusing on the details. I'd be like, I'll move on to the next thing. But yeah, once I started seeing it in a sense with the audio, or not, it's some audio too, but yeah, seeing the visual connection with it too, and just being able to role play that with myself, and when I'm reading it, just really hit hard for me. That's when I was like, there's something to these characters. There's some real depth beyond that. And even if there are certain things that are not fully visualized in there, it helped me to, finally imagine those things with the help of that original visual reference or the background or whatnot. It just, having that thing to work off of really helps me, because I like to build off things, in my opinion. Having some sort of base like that really helped.
Nice. Marshmallow Bears, how about you?
What made me... This is a very personal answer. I'm gonna get gushy, but it's when I read a visual novel before I stream it, I don't read it by myself. I read it with my lovely partner Robin, and we make a date of it, and we do silly voices and read out the visual novel. And it's that spending time with her that makes me love reading these furry visual novels. Like, I don't know, doing that first Adastra reading was it was great. It was just a lovely little moment together. Even now, the Adastra theme makes me think of waking up early to spend time with her, and the smell of my vanilla caramel tea. So yeah, that's why I like reading furry visual novels. It's a nice impromptu date night with my lovely partner.
Nice.
I think for me, slightly getting personal, it was during the time when I started getting the furry visual novels. When I discovered them was a time in my life where I was kind of dealing with a lot of issues. Was very depressive. My depression was at a extreme low. And at the time, then I discovered visual novels, which then eventually I discovered furry visual novels. And at that time, I've always been an avid reader growing up, but at the time, I don't know if anybody here has severe depression, but when you have depression, you don't want to do anything. I used to love reading, and even reading was like a hassle. Like, I struggled to focus on reading at all. And visual novels helped me a lot with that, because already half of the work was done for me. And it made it a lot easier for me to visualize stuff. I'm normally a good visualizer, but like I said, being depressed, it was really hard to visualize anything happy. I mean, I could visualize gray clouds and other morbid, dark things that I won't discuss. But it was a real big issue for me, and I feel like with furry visual novels, it kind of helped me visualize something a little happier, like especially the really well written ones. Like we mentioned Echo, well, not Echo. I mean, Echo was later, and that's not a happy. That's not a happy visual novel at all.
Yeah.
But just an example, like Echo, how so visually, it's very visually descriptive, and it does very well at describing the characters and character traits and all that. And I think that helped me a lot with just being able to kind of get in a mind space that wasn't always depressed. So that was what it was for me. It was like it started out as an escape, and then eventually I realized that I generally really enjoyed furry visual novels, and then obviously I found your channel, and then cookies, and we went from there, and then I made my own.
Nice.
Really hard to pin down just one moment. It's much more of a gradual process for me. Because I first played Blackgate, then I tried out Echo, then I played Project Ego. So it's the first three I kind of went through, and it's just a gradual. I like this more and more. If I had to pin it down to maybe one moment when I've been playing these things, I'd say it's probably at the end of the first day in Echo. Well, we've just had this real slice of life, friends getting together in a motel room, watching the movie and all that kind of thing. And then we have this odd little dream sequence. And it's just something about that juxtaposition between this weird thing and what we've just had, which is all kind of relaxed and very slice of lifey. And then we go back to that kind of thing when we head off to Peyton there on the next day. And just something about that, just, okay, I like what you're doing with this thing. It's not just this, apparently this genre, we're changing things around a bit. And I love the way that was done there. Just from one to the other, very well handled. So if I had to put it down to one section, that would probably be it. But to be honest, it's been a very gradual process. I can't say, yeah, this was the moment, really. That's the closest I can get for you.
Nice. For me, it was a bit of a mix of things where I did the videos on Amorous, and then a couple of people recommended extracurricular activities. They recommended Repeat. They also recommended Echo, but I didn't play that until a bit later. So I started playing extracurricular activities at Repeat, and I started to enjoy them. I didn't take them too seriously, but I started to really get into Repeat, and it was really starting to get into realizing that I could get into the characters of these games, because playing Amorous, I didn't get into the characters. You weren't supposed to. That game was not meant for you to take the characters seriously. That wasn't the point. You were supposed to be attracted to the characters.
You're supposed to get into the character.
You were supposed to fit into the characters in a very specific spot. But and extracurricular activities is kind of set up to be similarly at the beginning. You pick a route, and that's where you go, very much at the beginning. And so, and it's also very stylized to, at least at the time, that had its old art style. And so I had never seen anything like that. So I was like, I didn't take it very seriously at the beginning. I was very judgmental about it at first, very unfairly so. Repeat was not like that. There was no route to pick at the beginning, and the art was more subdued, and it was more character based. And it was really the characters in Repeat that made me realize I could care about them and get more interested in them as I went. And it was slowly falling into caring about those characters. And there was also an unfortunate selfishness as well, because I was raised a child of neglect. I was not given a lot of attention. In summary, I was paid very little attention. I spent a lot of time alone. And then when I started doing YouTube, I started making videos before YouTube started. I started making videos 2003. YouTube started in 2005. And I started doing visual novel videos. I started Amorous late 2016. So that's 13 years. And Amorous was the first series where I got any kind of success. So that's 13 years of no one giving a fuck. All right? Even my family and friends didn't. I didn't have a lot of friends, and my family didn't watch my shit. Right? So all of a sudden, something was working. And so there was I'll admit, a bit of selfishness and a self-preservation in the idea that something was working. And that coincided with the idea that I was actually really enjoying what I was doing, in the fact that I was actually enjoying it to do it, as opposed to enjoying it to try to make it work. Because before that, I was trying to play games that I thought would make views work. But with repeat and extracurricular activities, I actually enjoyed them just by itself. Eventually, as I got to know the characters. And that's how I came to actually enjoy them. And that's the kind of things that I've tried to recapture whenever I've felt burnout, or whenever I've felt uneasy about whatever I've done in the past however many years it's been since then. So that's what made me like furry visual novels.
Very passionate answer.
Sorry if I got a little too much. Again, I know I go a little bit too long on my answers. I need to try to shorten it down. Fortunately, the next question's a little more simple. Mac Frowling asks, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Oh, that's a question.
That's a real question that got asked by a real audience member. Mac Frowling, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Okay,
and I want to know your freaking answer, man. And you say you have it. Dirk, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
It's too easy for me. It's chocolate chip cookie dough. Hands down is my favorite flavor. Especially, I love having like chunky or like things you can like chew on that are like hard in ice cream like that. Mm-hmm. And just having a mix of that where you have like a chewy cookie dough, and then like where some of them do that and like chocolate chip chunks, like a mint chip. Oh, love it. It's like you got the hard, you got the soft.
I love
crunching with ice cream.
Nice.
Especially when it's like a harder frozen ice cream. Not as fun on soft serve.
Nice.
But that's still good.
Fair enough. Fallenwolf, favorite flavor of ice cream?
Cookies and cream.
Cookies and cream. Nice.
That's my old favorite. I've evolved.
Marshmallow Bears.
Mine is a flavor. It's called Heavenly Hash. It's think Rocky Road, but with a ton of marshmallow in it. Oh, it's so good.
Very thematic. Very thematic of you. Blaidd Llwyd.
Well, my absolute favourite isn't actually a flavour, it's a brand. It was Thayer's ice cream, which was very local to South Wales. Basically just cream, butter, sugar, eggs, all mixed and frozen. Absolutely gorgeous. Ooh. But when we go to actual flavours, I'd probably go for mint choc chip. I know people, toothpaste, I really like mint.
I like it.
And it's a nice combination with the chocolate in there as well. Mint and chocolate is a nice mix.
A person of culture, I see.
Yeah. We're all on your side here. You are among...
I'll fight for you.
Yeah. My favorite, I'm trying to stay away from ice cream now, trying to lose weight, but when I do choose to indulge, I like peanut butter ice. I like peanut butter as the candy ingredient. Chocolate, peanut butter. There was a mix. There was like a peanut butter brownie, I think. Was it? I think it was like a peanut butter brownie mix, or was it peanut butter chocolate chip? Something. God, it was peanut butter mix with something. Hold on, let me ask. My partner will remember better than me. I had it on the tip of my tongue. Hold on.
Into the ice cream void they go.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't remember it either. It's one of those things that's like so obvious we can't fucking remember.
Yeah.
It's chocolate ice cream, peanut butter, like peanut butter cup. So it's like got the chocolate chocolate candy with a peanut butter core. Yeah. And there's like another thing mixed in there. We think it's cookie dough or it could be brownie. It's something. It's mostly candy with a little bit of ice cream in there somewhere. It's like those people that... Yeah.
That sounds like something I top my frozen yogurt with. Like I do like that, where it's like cookie dough, peanut butter cups.
Yeah. It's like
so
the people
good,
though. It's like the people that order coffee with like a million syrups and sugars and milk and all this other stuff. It's like you're getting coffee flavored milk sugar water. And
Here's your milkshake.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a nice little icebreaker question.
Yeah.
And here's another one that gives a little bit of a look into the future from Lightning Shadow. As of recording this, because this will take a little bit to get out, unfortunately. Editing takes time, would you know? As of recording, yes. As of recording, what do you plan to cover next for your video? What is your next video you plan on doing? And for the next people who don't do videos, what's your next stream that you plan on doing?
Oh, this is an easy answer.
Well, then let's hear it, Marshmallow Bears.
Since I have to keep a weekly schedule, or my manager gets on my case. My next streams are going to be the next one isn't visual novel related, but it's Metroid Dread, and then I'm going back to Echo. I'm stuck in this fucking town.
Nice.
But, we're doing TJ's route, so yay.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have the Chug Jug redeem?
Oh my god! Dirk, I can't. You fucking brought that video back up, and people were liking it, and I was like, Dirk, why? Why did you dig up me singing TJ Chug Jug?
So good. It must live on. Every streamer's gotta have their legacy thing they do.
Oh, great! That's what I remember for.
Well, maybe your next video will be what you get remembered for, Dirk. So what is your next video?
My next video series that I do, I already started one. I did Sylving. That one I've really gotten attached because of a certain character someone in this chat recommended to me.
I recommended that video to him, and it's so good. I knew that he would like it, and I was like...
Yeah. But I'll give an answer that isn't the one I've already done. I would really like to catch up with Remember the Flowers. That might be one I'm thinking about possibly having people collab on, because I've been pretty bad at like reaching out to people and being like, hey, do you want to do this video with me? And I really want to do that sometime. And yeah, maybe with some ongoing novels and whatnot in the future. It's just something that I think really adds to it, like we did with the smoke room thing. But yeah, I mean, Remember the Flowers seems like something that has a lot of good characters to like voice, and the plot and whatnot seems very interesting. And a lot of people seem to like it.
Hey, if you need anyone else, you need any help, I'd be willing to collab.
Yeah, all of you are invited.
Aww. Fallenwolf, what is your next video?
So by the time of this video, finally managed to get out my last discussion video, which I was really happy with. Got a lot of positive reception on, including from Blaidd over here. So visual novel wise, I have been debating on either giving Dawn Chorus a try, because I've heard so many good things about it. I still haven't played it. I just hear so many people talk how good it is. Dawn Chorus, and then I've also heard of Shelter. Shelter's another one that I've heard a lot of people say is really good. So visual novel wise, I was I'm thinking of either starting Shelter up or Dawn Chorus. Video wise, that's a good question. I'm my ideas for like my discussion videos come pretty randomly. Like I'll look up something and I'm like, oh, more furry Twitter drama, and then I'm like, you know what, I should make a video on this. That's usually where they come from. So I mean, it'll definitely be another discussion video, just debating on exactly what it's going to be on. that also I can put on YouTube.
Sounds fair enough. Blaidd Llwyd.
Okay, I just opened up my spreadsheet because I couldn't remember what I was supposed to be doing next. This is why I have a spreadsheet.
Fair enough. I got one myself. You got to do those spreadsheets, man.
Yeah.
They really help.
It does, yeah. And yeah, so the next video I'll be recording will be 10 essays. So I haven't done that since July, I think. So definitely going back into that.
All right.
And I'm not starting anything new up. I just started Nevin recently, so I won't have any new VN series starting, but I'm going to do a special recording for Halloween. Just go back and do an M.R. James ghost story again. So that'll be a bit different, but before that, quite a few VNs coming up.
Cool. As for me, other than this, which I hope to get out as soon as I can, and my weekly wrestling-themed podcast called Kick Out at 1 that I didn't realize would be such a fucking editing commitment. Weekly podcasts, for God's sake. I'm drowning over there, but it's worth it. I like talking about wrestling every week. But other than those, on my channel here, I am currently editing through my latest recording of Burrows, the Gabriel route, and the last of the Echo short stories. After that, I've also recorded... What else have I recorded? I've also recorded the Arches update. That's been recorded, needs to be edited. I recorded the Mark short extra from Burrows, and I recorded a day from Darius's route in extracurricular activities. The first time I've done that in 2 years.
Yeah,
So,
it's been.
Yeah, I haven't done that since 2020. So this is the first time I've mentioned it. So hopefully people will be excited about that whenever the hell I have time to edit it.
Editing's not easy, guys.
No, it takes a long time.
Yeah. Takes a little bit.
Yeah. Speaking of
We're making
editing
it-
taking a long time, what?
Yeah, we're making it longer so you can edit more.
Yeah.
Oh.
Quickly, everyone say some stuff that she has to edit out.
Oh, for God's sake.
Interrupt over. Everybody talk over. This is going to be part of the bloopers.
Oh,
We got to make a
jeez.
bloopers video now.
Bloopers
Oh,
video.
man.
That'd be so good.
Yeah, more editing.
Yeah. I just realized while I was talking a bit earlier, I didn't answer half of the question during my lightning round. I didn't say what my least favorite visual novel was.
Oh,
That was one of the things. Yeah.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
My least favorite visual novel, it's a tie between the original Morinatsu and the Lagoon Lounge series.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah. Very simple answer. CP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an immediate trip to hell for you, buddy. No, fuck that.
Yeah.
So, moving swiftly the fuck along. Speaking of editing taking a long fucking time, Sekhmet Senrizeron. Here's a question. TBH, recording and editing seems like a daunting task. That's why I'd be really grateful if you could elaborate on how all of you go through these processes. Programs for recording and editing. Those of you, of course, this is the end. That's the end of the question. For those who do not edit, still the setup for streaming, that is also daunting for a lot of people who do not know how to stream. So consider this a general question on what is your setup, your programs, and how do you do the do for your setup?
I remember when I first was recording, because I did recording before I streamed, and boy, that was a pain in the butt how I did it. I would record like about a minute or two's worth of content until I flubbed, and then I would like stop there, try and get that part stopped, and I would keep doing that for various parts. And so I'd have like 20 or so different clips and make sure my audio was properly timed with what I had, because I didn't have OBS at the time. So I was manually uploading the audio to correlate with whatever was on screen. I don't even remember how I recorded, if it was like QuickTime or something like that. Some sort of like horrible recording method, and I have to line up all the audio. Yeah, sorry, what did you say, Paul?
No, I was gonna say I haven't heard that name in ages. QuickTime.
I haven't now, or now I haven't. I've stopped long ago, but yeah, before I streamed, that's what I do. I line everything up. I would have like at least a template for my intro and outro, and oh boy, yeah, adding those together so I wouldn't have any like flubbed lines in there or whatnot. Yeah, quite a pain to time that up when audio and video are on separate devices. So that's a quick little precursor before what I did with streaming. So the actual thing, streaming, like, yeah, using OBS has been interesting. You'll learn over time. That's what you gotta have, like, the openness to when you do it. You're not gonna be like somebody that has all this stuff set up for the first time, even if you go through like tutorials. Like, you'll pick things up, but then you'll kind of tweak and tinker around. So I have my OBS. I have that with like the recording settings on at times. I fix the bit rates and all that stuff. And yeah, a couple different screens for like preparing, a window and stuff to capture audio and the screen. Yeah, I can't say much else other than the setup of that. The other stuff would be like whatever the complex like Twitch and YouTube like widgets are.
Okay. Fellow streamer main time Marshmallow Bears, do you have anything to add about streaming?
Yeah, so I use OBS for my main setup. All the settings and that and scenes set up. So I have my starting soon, just chatting, my gaming and drawing and close up. I also have a technical difficulties screen. But on top of that, I'm also a VTuber. So I have to have my VTube studio up and running, along with all of my bots. So I've Mix It Up and Biku Bot, which is for like a text-to-speech redeem. And then I have a thing called TITS, which stands for Twitch Integrated Throwing System, which whenever anyone would donate or give me bits, it throws shit at me.
Oh yeah.
Show me
So yeah, I have all that running all at once, so it can be a bit of a pain to run all of that at once. Sometimes I have to close some things down. But yeah, so those are all the programs I use to make all of the magic happen.
Nice. Before we move on too much, I also should probably ask for the tech spec people in minded people. Dirk, what microphone and camera do you use?
Oh, yeah. I was about to say in the answer, and I was like, no, it's a different question. But the camera that I use is a Logitech. I forgot what the exact like model of it is, but it's like a Logitech camera I got at like Best Buys. I wouldn't say it's like high end, but it's not like low end either. It's kind of like in the middle. Does it have the name? Nope, it does not. But it's like this white one with like this gray, like graphite heather color to like the side of it. So that's the camera I use. It is a decent quality. I normally do it in 720p. And the mic I'm using right now is actually on a mic stand of all things, but it's called a Focusrite 2-channel. It's a Scarlett 2i2. I just saw the name. And so basically that is like a, what is it, like analog or whatever, where it's like you plug in like an audio jack thing for it.
Audio interfacer, I have that.
Yeah, it's not like a USB thing technically, like you still plug that like the box into the USB, but it's like when you have a regular microphone and it has like the little three things you shove in.
Yeah, 3 prong.
Yeah, I am not a technical expert, if you can tell, even though I have all this stuff here. I'm just like, I'm the guy here who's like, I have no clue what I'm doing. But yeah, I have this Focusrite thing that makes it so the audio is clear. I used to use a Blue Yeti, so I still recommend that, but you know, if you want a good quality to your mic and something that isn't as like, I think there's a thing where they talk about like USB mics having a little bit of a quality translation issue, but yeah, doing something that is like this where it has like the microphone type of jack that you plug in is something I'd recommend, because those can still plug into USB, but they'll have like a box that helps translate it better.
Okay. And Marshmallow Bears, you you don't use a webcam. You do. You
No,
use.
I have to use a webcam for my VTubing.
True. Yeah. And the microphone.
But everything I use is cheap as shit. So here's a little behind the scenes. I use a Blue Yeti. I use a Blue Yeti snowball for my microphone.
Sorry, Marsh. not the crap on your mic or anything.
No, you're fine. I know it's crap, but I don't have the money.
It's a decent mic, though.
I make streamer money, so I don't have the money to upgrade.
Oh, yeah, I can feel that. It's like any month now, I'll hit the threshold.
I can taste the tea. It's so good. This tea is so good.
And then for my webcam, I got like a production clone of a good webcam. It says Aver Media on it, so I guess that's the brand name. But yeah, I literally looked for like, oh, this is a good webcam. Is there a production clone of it? Yep, there it is. Like $20. Buy it.
Nice.
So yeah,
I've never thought of that. Cool. And Fallenwolf, you stream every once in a while, yeah?
Yeah, I need to. It's more just a time thing, but I want to do more of it. But yeah, I stream sometimes.
Okay, so you stream and video, so you can speak to both your setups for that, as well as what is your equipment setup.
So so I'll start with editing. I feel like that's easier to describe, not to do. So for editing, when I started out, I actually started out with a Blue Yeti. That was how I started off. I ended up, when I first started, I used a headset and a headset mic, and it was awful. And I don't go back to those videos for a reason. My first videos for a reason. But after that, I still used the headset. I was a Logitech, some kind of Logitech. It was like a $50 headset. I used a Logitech for the listen, and I used a Blue Yeti to record. Now I have a XLR. No, it's an AT. Sorry, it's AT 2035. It's Audio Technica 2035. Pretty decent. I've had very little issues with it. My issues mostly come from just finding the proper setup. I've never used an audio interfacer before, which is I have the same one Dirk has, a Scarlett Solo one output, and I've never used one of those, so I'm still trying to get used to it. But just for people, word of advice for people, if you starting off, I would recommend a USB mic. Blue Yetis are good enough. Just starting off, just until you get used to talking into a mic. I don't think people should go right for a XLR mic, because while they're much better quality, they are much more complicated to adjust.
Yeah.
But definitely start with a Blue Yeti. Now I use an XLR mic. XLR mics, they're much better, but I would recommend starting with a Blue Yeti. When I had a camera, I got to get a new camera because my old webcam broke. I used to have I was trying to be one of the cool kids, and I got a Razer Koyo, a Razer Koyo, and it lasted a few months and it broke, and I was like, okay, that definitely don't buy the name brand stuff all the time. It's not always good. But when I edit though, for editing thumbnails, I use Photoshop. You don't have to use that though. There are plenty of other sites that are far cheaper. Trust me. Don't get Photoshop. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I have this old Photoshop I had from like 2016 that I used over time to time. Also,
there's so
CSP.
much better ways than using that. But yeah, I use Photoshop for thumbnails, and then I use OBS like everybody else does. I usually use OBS to record. But I record audio separately. I don't know who here records audio separately.
Back in the day, I did, and to add to that thing I did, it was the thing I separated my audio on was an iPhone. I used the iPhone record app.
Jeez. Oh my gosh.
That's why it was like on two separate things. Because I was like, I don't want to use my computer mic, otherwise it will conflict.
Yeah.
I did not know how the tech stuff worked.
So I used to record together in OBS. But eventually I was like, well, sometimes the visual novel music is so much louder than my voice. So now I use Audacity it's a free program. I definitely recommend it. It's completely free and it's very simple audio editing. I use Audacity to record my voice, my vocals, and then I use OBS just to record the normal game footage, the footage and the sound.
You can.
And
I was having that problem for a long time where my voice was getting lost in the game sound. Until someone taught me, my brother showed me a video on how to have 2 separate audio tracks for your microphone and the game audio in OBS. That way, when the video file comes out, and you go into editing, like for streaming, it doesn't help at all because they both come out at the same time. But if you're recording for a video, it will come in as 2 separate audio tracks that you can manipulate in your editor.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting. I'll have to talk about that because usually lately I just use Audacity now just to record my audio, just because I'll go through the clip and I'll cut out stuff, and especially if it's like a because I know that's a big thing, especially if it's like I'm doing one of my discussion videos, I'll use Audacity because I can cut out all the
audio gating.
Yeah. I'll use that to cut out those because I know like that's a big thing. I've been watching a lot of visual novel. I've been watching a lot of voice actor videos like the past year, and I know that's a big thing they talk about, like cutting out the gasp and the deep breaths you take.
Yeah. What program do you use to edit your video?
I edit my video. I used see Vivian, you're always right on top of it. I forgot the one. That's the one I forgot. I use Premiere Pro again. Before that though, I used to use. Oh man, I'm gonna forget. I'm gonna be very frustrated. I had the name on the tip of my tongue. Before that, I used to use something called. I really hate myself right now because I remember it was a program. It was still a paid program, but it was very cheap. It was like $20-$30 a year, which is, really
nice.
I mean, a lot cheaper than now. Now it's like, hey, you want to use Premiere Pro? It's about $20 a month. Have fun.
Yeah. I just know I edit all my audio in Premiere Pro as well, and there is a way to do audio gating and audio filtering in Premiere Pro as well.
See, I meant to ask you because I know the basics. Like I know how to add effects and stuff. I mean, poorly. I'm gonna add.
Yeah. But I learned a lot of this stuff from Fabulous Aura, and he knows like he taught me all I know. He didn't teach me all he knows.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. But yeah, so yeah. And then for streaming, I use OBS. It's pretty much the same thing. The biggest thing with OBS for me that I had to change is now that I have the XLR, you have to force your computer and the program to read it as a single output because XLR mics don't work in the sense of you set it up as this normal default, it'll only come out of one. It'll make it so it only comes out of one like microphone. It's only like sounding off in one ear, whatever you want to call it. I had to adjust it so that it registers that the whole sound is just one big volume and it just comes out of.
Oh, you had to switch it to stereo as opposed to mono.
There you go. Yeah.
It can be the audio channels.
It would constantly, when I first got it, I had to keep looking up videos because I was like, I'm only hearing it out of like my left ear. I'm like, why is it not sounding off of both? And then I was like, oh, because it's naturally set to.
Just thank God for the OBS forums.
So yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to say for people that are new, I highly recommend giving it a try. Don't be afraid to get a cheaper mic. Don't be too cheap, but obviously buy within your budget. Don't try to be, don't be stupid. Don't be like, oh yeah, my first mic's going to be this $200 XLR mic because
what if you don't like doing it?
Yeah,
what are you going to do with this fucking microphone?
You might not like it, and you want to get used to. You just want to get used to voices because, like, I don't regret first buying a USB because it got me used to really doing voices and understanding some little technical know-how. Because you don't have to be an audio engineering genius, but you need to know a decent amount.
Yeah,
you need to know a little above the basics.
Blaidd Llwyd.
Well, like everyone else, pretty much, I use OBS and I use that for recording. But Fallen mentioned Audacity, and I love that for just audio. So occasionally I'm recording things that have no visuals, and that's what I always use Audacity for. And actually, the Echo video I made a bit over a year ago was all recorded in Audacity because it was basically me talking, and I did the visuals when I was editing. Yeah, I just basically set up OBS, okay, make sure my levels are okay for the music, sound, my voice. Start recording. Stop because I realized I messed up the introduction. Start it again. Keep going till I really mess something up badly. Okay, stop. Go back. Do it again. Keep going. So depend on the length of the video and how well I'm doing. I might just have 4 sections to stitch together, or I might have 20, which just happens sometimes. And then I just put everything together. I keep it very simple. For editing, I use Shotcut, which is a free program. And I like it. It works well enough for what I do. I can just put things together easily. I can censor things with blurs and mosaics. And I have things set up as well, already done. So my little captions with the patrons to the start of the video, that little Aurora Borealis background introduction is pre-recorded. I just stick all those in with the end credits as well around my stuff, and it's done. So I try to keep it as simple as I can because I'm not a tech guy at all when it comes to this. I see what some of you do with editing. It's amazing. But I just keep it simple.
That's worked for you.
It seems to, so far.
What microphone do you use?
So I have an Audio Technica 2020 USB Plus. It's my second, very similar to the first one, which just wore out after a few years. And I ran it by the sound guy on the one game I worked on. He said, yeah, that's a good choice. So I've been very happy with it. And it's on the shock mount and the pop filter, all that usual stuff as well. So
nice.
It works well for me, this setup.
Yeah. And for me, I use OBS. I use the Streamlabs OBS. I don't know. Does anyone use that variety of OBS?
I used to.
The slobs.
Little slobs.
Little slobs. I pretty much do everything in that. I have Audacity, and if when I do voice acting auditions, I do it in that. Not that that's gotten me anywhere.
I wanted to ask you about that. We'll talk about it after this, but I wanted to ask you some questions about that, actually.
Sure. I don't have any expert advice to give you. I've gotten nothing. I can teach you how to not get a fucking role. Sorry. And I edit in Adobe Premiere Pro, and I used to edit in a thing called VideoPad Video Editor. It was a one-time payment thing, and it would crash if you sneezed in the wrong direction at it. It was fucking garbage. And so the shift to Premiere Pro was a fucking lifesaver. And my webcam, which I use very infrequently, just because I've just found that I need to have a better self-image if I want to put myself on the internet and feel comfortable about it. I have a Razer Kiyo, which I bought from yeah, you mentioned it. I bought it from a coworker when I worked at GameStop. He had bought one, and with the intention of flipping it out of his garage, his car trunk. But I mentioned that I did YouTube, so he gave me a discount. And it works fine, but usually if I'm doing a video that's just webcam, I just use my phone, because it has a better camera than the webcam. And then for my microphone, I have the Audio Technica AT4033A, and it also is with the audio interface of the Scarlett Solo. So we got a lot of those in this group. And it's on the shock mount and the pop filter. and that's my setup. I pretty much, when I record, if I know I'm recording an update, I record the whole thing all at once, and then I edit it down into chunks. Usually scene by scene, because my audience has stated a preference for that. I've asked them repeatedly, just to make sure that I'm not screwing up. And then to make sure that they know that it's that, like, because sometimes I'll be like, hey, let me know if this is the right choice or not. If a video ends without me doing an outro, that means I've already recorded the rest of it. And if a video starts without an intro, that means that it's still the same recording session. But the problem is that sometimes people will not have noticed that, or they just don't know that's the system, and so they'll be telling me, or like, oh, I don't know if you've recorded yet or something, and it's not everyone's job to. Sometimes people are just moseying in and out, and they're not a regular viewer, and I feel bad because I'm like, oh, geez, maybe every time, because I don't know when I'm going to do the editing cut, so like I just can't keep doing because I have the opening the book intro, the animatic. I have that on every video, but I don't know. I just feel bad because like some people are genuinely trying to help, but they don't know that I've already recorded an hour and a half or 2 hours of something, and I can't put their advice into words. So they're like, "No, I told you not to do that," and I'm like, "I recorded this a month ago. What the fuck do you want me to do?"
Oh yeah,
yeah. Oh man, but it's I appreciate the efforts nonetheless. Well, we have reached 2 hours and then some of recording. This one is a little shorter than the other one, and we still have, if my mouse will cooperate, we still have a page, roughly a page-ish of questions. Will y'all be okay coming back for a part 3?
Hell yeah!
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
And viewers, listen, if you want more of this, just keep giving us questions. We'll be stuck here forever.
Yeah, I know, right? We'll be here forever.
The never-ending fucking series.
It'll be like it'll be like VivianJade's extracurricular activities playlist.
Oh, jeez. There's literally a question about that will appear in the next. It's not about that specifically, but about that topic that will appear in the next part.
I remember looking at VivianJade's extracurricular activity videos, and I look now and I'm like, this is still going, and I'm like, there's like so many episodes. I'm like, should I keep going?
Yeah, imagine living it.
I look at those series and I'm like, Vivian's in the hundreds. I wonder what's gonna be like once I hit 100 episodes of tennis ace. I'm about scared.
I'm about to hit 200 episodes of extracurricular activities, and some of them shits are over an hour long.
Yeah, especially the older ones.
Oh yeah, and like for the first half of this year, I went through and was re-editing some. That's why I was not putting out any new content, is because I was going through those old streams and like cutting out some of the stuff that wasn't YouTube appropriate and re-editing them to make them like easier to watch. And so some of those episodes are like 6-7 parters. And so the actual playlist, I'm curious now. You got me curious. The actual playlist only has the amount of episodes and the amount of videos are not the same. The amount of episodes, I'm pulling it up now. Holy shit. The amount of videos, I should say, is 196.
Whoa.
And the shortest, they tend to be anywhere between like 20 to 40, sometimes over an hour long still. And the episodes are at 173.
Oh, jeez.
and I've only finished 3, maybe 4 routes, and they've added 2 more.
Yeah, they did. I was like,
Damn.
yeah.
And they all have a minimum. They all have 35 days. So, yeah, I'm going to be playing this. I'm going to be playing this until 2026.
Yeah, so there's 5 routes in EA, but
Never
you're saying they added
yeah.
2 more to that?
They added,
Yeah,
they added Richard, and now they are adding. They added another character, right?
They added Dwayne.
Dwayne, there you go.
Dwayne.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's 7 routes.
Never ending. Every time we're like, all right, we're almost done. It's like, oh,
All
here's
right.
another route. Like,
You get whoever gets 7 times 35 right quickest gets a point.
I can do this. 5 at the 3. 185.
45.
185 is not correct. What did you say, Fallen?
Dig.
215?
No, that's not correct either.
What was the question?
7 times 35.
Oh, well, never mind.
Floor is open.
Oh, I just figured it out.
245.
Yeah.
Okay.
245. That is the amount of
my
character
God.
days and extracurricular activities. And most of them shits are really fucking long.
Yeah. Some days are a lot longer than others with FVN.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. That game. That game. Oy. Anyway, thank y'all for joining me here on this episode. I've had a pleasure talking to all of you once again, and I look forward to doing it again to finish out this long list of these wonderful questions, unless we get more, and we never get to finish this list. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, call to action. And for all of you who joined us here listening to the part 2 of our narrating roundtable, thank you very much for listening in. We enjoyed the time you gave us all here. We appreciate it. Once again, we appreciate all of you who joined us here for however long you watched, be it on the clips or on the full thing. We appreciate you. Well, this is only going to be on the full thing. We didn't cut this part for the clips. We only cut the major big topics or whatever I just felt like cutting for the clips. Now, time for your outros. Give them to me. Give them to your audience. In same order as last time. Do it, please. I beg of you.
Here we go. All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, good vibes bring good times. Take care, folks.
That is your confirmation that Dirk does not know how to fucking read the alphabet. D does not come before B!
I did it first last time, remember?
I thought you meant in last time too.
I communicated perfectly inaccurately. Thank you very much.
Edit this out. Edit it out.
I said perfectly inaccurately. I apologize. I fucked up.
Oh, this is all fun.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Someone talk, please. God, I feel like a failure.
All right, and once again, thanks guys for stopping by. I've really enjoyed these videos and really like nice little podcast to do, something a little different. And it's really great getting to meet all of you, Vivian, Dirk, Blaidd, Marshmallow. It's hopefully hopefully this won't take 10,000 years for Vivian to edit. Not rushing you, Vivian, but clock's ticking. Jeopardy music playing.
Wow. Maybe I'll just send the fucking file to you and see how it gets done in an hour. Let's just see you do it that way. I'm just fucking with you. I'm just
I know.
It's all in love.
All right, and then there was.
It's been lovely being here, and thanks for having me. Yeah, I hope everyone listening has a great night, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
So cute.
Well, it's been great being here with everyone again. I'd really enjoy hanging out with you all, and hope you and the audience enjoyed that. It's been always good to do this kind of thing. So, until next time, bye for now.
Thank you all very much for watching. God damn. Thank you. Fucking hell. Thank you all very much for watching and listening. I have been the Trained Unprofessional, speaking for myself and all of these wonderful people with their great and wondrous outros. And I hope you all have a very nice and wonderful day and night or whenever the hell you're listening to this. And until next time, thank you all. Bye, everybody.